Okay, today I'm covering a very important concept that you need to understand if you want to succeed your first year as a new SDR. I call it the SDR Hierarchy of Needs, and this is what I've developed after over 2 years of being an SDR manager, the exact areas that I needed to focus on to make sure that that rep developed successfully. And I started with the bottom of the hierarchy and did not focus on farther up the hierarchy until I was confident they had each layer down first. So in this video, I'm going to be taking you through what each of these concepts are and then revealing what they lead to in the mystery boxes at the end. So let's get into it. Okay, first we'll start at the bottom of the hierarchy. When I got a brand new rep who didn't know what was going on at all and it was my job to develop them, the first thing I focused on before worrying about anything else, worrying about cold calling, cold emailing, anything like that, was making sure that they were in perfect lockstep with their internal account team. And by internal account team, I primarily mean their account executive, which is generally the person you're going to align to and share the territory with. It is critical that you have a great working relationship with this person because a lot of your destiny is in their hands in the sense that they're generally the ones who take the meetings that you set with you and they decide whether that meeting went well and it should go in the system as an opportunity, which is generally what you're metriced on. Now, account executives come in different flavors. Some are easier to work with than others, but it is crucial that you end up with a good working relationship with this person because they can help you work more efficiently in the territory. So when you're brand new, there's someone very experienced that you can learn a lot from, one, but also they generally know a lot about the territory as well and can point you in the right directions and save you a lot of time. As an example, when you're new and you know nothing about your territory, if you meet with your rep and they say, hey, these few accounts engaged us a few months ago and I haven't gotten back to them yet. Why don't you start out with them because they could be good targets to go after? That could have taken you weeks or months to learn if you weren't communicating with your account executive, but now you learn that within a day or within a few hours of just from meeting with them. So there's many examples where they can point you in the right direction and help you work more efficiently. But the key is they're not obligated to work with you. They're kind of expected to work with you, but their duty is really to closed revenue. That's what they're focused on. So they need to determine that the juice is worth the squeeze. So when you meet with these people, you need to be bringing them value and showing them that you're someone who's ready to hustle, ready to work hard, and is worth investing in and will grow and help them over time. So when you meet with them, you want to be bringing them ideas. Don't just meet with them and expect you to point you in the right direction every single time. Yes, they'll do that in the beginning, but then they're going to want to see that you come to them and say, hey, I was thinking of targeting these accounts. What do you think? They might tell you you're wrong, like don't go after those accounts, go over other accounts, but they'll at least appreciate like, oh, this person's thinking and trying to get better. So add value, make sure you have a good working relationship with this person. This is the first thing I focus on when I get a new rep. All right, next, once I'm confident my rep has this base of the structure down and they are in lockstep with their internal account team and know how to leverage them, I then focus on instilling a value mindset into them. And what I mean by that is a lot of reps come in lacking confidence because they're new to sales and they're afraid that they're bothering prospects, especially when they're cold calling them, and it comes across in their language. You use passive language, things like, hey, would you possibly be free to meet next week if you're available? You put these little caveats like on it, like possibly or if you're available. It's subconscious, you don't mean to do it, but it signals that you're not confident in your ask. And I think it stems from a higher level issue that you don't have a value mindset. You're not convinced that you're actually here to help these people. So I make sure that reps understand that what we do is valuable for prospects. We're not bothering prospects because it's going to trickle down in their language and they'll start to use stronger, more assumptive language without me even having to tell them. The reason you should have a value mindset is because you work for a company that exists for a reason. It's carved out a market position for itself for a reason. It clearly has a value proposition that helps customers, and all of these customers and prospects have problems and priorities that they should be focused on, but sometimes they're not even aware of it. And you're the one who's reaching out saying, hey, I understand your role. Here's some typical challenges I see in that role and how we've helped other people. I don't know if we can help you yet, but it's probably worth setting aside some time next week. Are you free on Wednesday or Thursday? You're the one who's cutting through it and saying, hey, I've been here and done this before. I think I can help you. So you're actually a huge value add and it's going to trickle down in their language. So before I move up the hierarchy, even here, I don't worry about cold call scripts or email templates. I want them to get that mindset down so that it comes across in their language and it's a stronger base to build off of. All right, the third pillar, once they're lockstep with their account team and I'm confident that they have a confident mindset, then I start looking into what messaging they're using. If I've done the value mindset part right, it's gonna come across in their messaging, and then maybe I'm adding some tweaks based on my experience. I generally don't leave messaging up to chance. I find messaging that has worked for myself or that other successful reps are using, and then take it and maybe tweak it based on my accounts or my targets. I don't leave it up to chance. Do not make the mistake of an SDR, as an SDR, of just taking the first email template that you find or cold call script that you find and then just running with it. Because you're gonna sacrifice all that time and effort and then find out down the line that, oh, that script was trash or that email template wasn't good. You should be either going to your manager if you trust them or finding the top performing reps on the floor that you respect and that are where you want to go, and use the messaging that they're using. Don't skip this step, because it's gonna wipe out all your results and all your effort if you're using bad messaging. You could be working hard, doing all the right things every day, but you gotta make sure you have effective, strong messaging, which I do a lot of videos on. But this is the third pillar once I have that base established with them. All right, next, once they have the base and the effective messaging in their hands, then it becomes about helping them work more efficiently and giving them efficient processes to use to get more of that effective messaging out, and therefore more shots on net is possible. The more quality shots on net you give yourself, the better chance you'll have of developing pipeline and setting meetings. So that's when I start focusing on, okay, how are you structuring your day? When are you sending emails? When are you sending calls? The efficient processes are what separate the good reps from the great reps. If you see reps that are getting results where it's like, how are they even doing that? How is that possible? It's because they have processes down that help them work super efficiently. Oftentimes they're leveraging other people, and there's just simple hacks they're doing that you're not aware of. You might be doing all the work that you can, you might be grinding, but if you don't have the right efficient processes in place, you're not going to be unlocking your highest potential of success. All right, now we're getting to the mystery boxes. So notice what I haven't talked about yet. I haven't talked about results. I'm talking about things that lead to results. So the first thing that this is going to lead to, when you have internal account alignment, you're in lockstep, you got a strong, confident value mindset, you have effective messaging in place, and now you got efficient processes to get as much of that messaging out into the right target prospects as possible. What that is going to lead to is meetings. Very simple. This is the first step. So meetings are a lagging indicator of all this. A big mistake that reps make is they sit here thinking about booking meetings all day, but meetings are a lagging indicator of all this other stuff. It's a lagging indicator of whether you're working well with your team, whether you have a confident mindset, is your messaging strong, do you have efficient processes in place? That is what leads to meetings. It's just like a lot of other things in life. One random example that pops into my head is basketball. I played a lot of basketball growing up. If you're trying to be a good player, you don't sit there thinking about scoring points all day. Like, yes, that's the end goal, but it's the fundamentals and the practice behind the scenes that leads to points. Points are the lagging indicator of the rest of the work underneath the surface. That's what this is. This is the hidden iceberg underneath. So if you're doing all of this right, you're going to start to see more meetings pop up. And then what it becomes about is how can you run as effective meetings as possible? How can we focus on converting as many of these meetings to actual pipeline as possible, getting that conversion rate up, which I have other videos on, but that's the idea. And then once you have a lot of meetings and they're going well and you're converting them, that's what leads to pipeline, which is generally your metric. So you should not be thinking about pipeline. It's basically the same thing I just talked about with meetings. You shouldn't be sitting there thinking about pipeline all day, which is what a lot of reps do. You should be thinking about this stuff and focusing on what you can control. This is the stuff that you can control. Everything higher up, you can control less and less, especially in this orange part. This is the stuff down here that you can control, and that's what's gonna lead all the way up to pipeline. So when I was a manager, this is how I thought about it when I got a brand new rep. Yes, you're doing all of these things at once, but what I was mostly focused on was at the bottom stages until I was confident they had that, and then I worked my way up, and by the end of the year, they were hopefully getting a lot of this. So hope this helps. Hope it's a good order of operations to follow if you're a new SDR or you're currently an SDR. If you enjoyed, hit the like button, and I'll see you on the next one.